Good afternoon, everyone. Others may be joining us, but because you really made the effort to come here by 1:30, I think we should start. And because it's such a beautiful day, I want to especially thank you for giving up part of it to be here with us. It's great to see all of you again. As you know, our purpose is to come together and to listen. My job today is to listen to you. And Monsignor Darius, who is the director of the Synod, is going to explain a bit more of what we're going to be doing today. But I can't tell you enough how happy I am to both see you again and have the opportunity for us to spend this time in conversation. So, first things first, we're going to pray. The prayer for the Synod? Yeah, why don't you stand? Good for you. Stand. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Why don't we say together, Lord Jesus Christ, you told your disciples, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. Trusting in your promise, we come together for our 4th Diocesan Synod. Send us your Holy Spirit that we may participate in this Synod with passion, imagination, and love. Give us, we pray, the gifts of wisdom, knowledge, courage, and above all, charity. Help us to grow in unity and mutual respect. Guide us on the path of the new evangelization as we plan for the future of the Church in Fairfield County. Bless our bishop, clergy, religious, and faithful. May all that we do reflect your divine plan. We pray all this in your name, who are the Lord, forever and ever. Amen. Our Lady of Fatima, patroness of our Diocesan Synod, intercede for us. St. John the 23rd, pray for us. St. John Paul II, pray for us. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Yep. Before I pass the meeting on to Monsignor Darius, I just want to give you a sense of what is our purpose here today. Now, for starters, how many of you were with me at St. Aloysius a couple of months ago? Raise your hands. Oh, great. A lot of you. Good. For those of you who were not able to join that meeting, basically, that was an afternoon. I guess was it an afternoon or an evening? I don't remember. It was an afternoon where we just spent about an hour and a half just exchanging ideas. And I asked 2 questions, 2 fill in the blanks. I love my church because X. I don't like my church because X. And I want to thank you for your honesty and for your integrity and for your love of the church to be able to tell exactly what's on your mind. That meeting was one of the highlights of my time here as your bishop since arriving in September. And I think today is going to be equally important because what we're about here today is the next step. So what's the next step? It's the Synod. A Synod is a gathering of all the leadership of the diocese over a year to be able to meet with me to discuss certain issues that are so important for the life of our diocese that we're going to have to take our time and pray and study before we can make some decisions. Now, we are still discerning what those topics are going to be, except for one. One is definite. That topic is your life in the church. It's you. You are one of my highest priorities as the Bishop of Bridgeport. And therefore, youth, young adults, your concerns, the things that matter to you the most, your dreams, how you believe the church can change for the better, is a lot of what the Synod is going to be talking about. So today is kind of like the preview to kind of dig in a bit. So we have a clearer idea of what are some of the topics that you really do want to look at. Now, some of you are delegates, which means you are going to actually sit in on the Synod in all its sessions. Some of you are going to be associate delegates, which means that there are going to be an equal number of meetings for next year, from September through May, where we will gather 300 young people, plus the delegates, to do exactly what the Synod is doing, only we're going to do it amongst ourselves here. Because your input, your experience, your observations are that important. So if you're not a delegate, chances are in the next few weeks you're going to be named an associate delegate, but I need every single one of you involved, and a lot more who perhaps could not come today. Does that make sense? So what's the end result? In September of not this year, the year after, you are all going to be invited to Mass at the Webster Arena in downtown Bridgeport. We're going to bring together 9,000 people for Mass. And it's going to be everybody. And we are going to celebrate the decisions we make together and ask for the Holy Spirit to let us follow through and do what we promised to do. And the hope would be to have a church that's more welcoming, more inviting, where a lot more of your friends will be in the seat next to you in the years ahead. Okay? Questions at all? Now, these are the ground rules. I'm not supposed to say anything. Okay? I'm supposed to listen. I will try my best not to say anything. But I can't promise you I will say nothing. Okay? But Monsignor is going to lead the proceedings, so I pass it on to Monsignor. Oh, I have my own microphone. See, that gives you absolute proof I'm not going to keep my...
Well, just in case Bishop would decide to speak to us, that'd be great. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Monsignor Darius. Bishop asked me to help him a little bit with the Synod. I'm part also of the Commission, who is present here in front of us. To my far left, Martha Missner, John Rodriguez, Damien O'Connor, and Deacon Di Toronto. So we are part of the Commission helping Bishop in the procedures and getting the whole information ready. So what are we going to do today? On your information sheets, on the other side of the prayer, towards the bottom, you have 5 questions. These are the 5 questions we'll be talking about today. Actually, you will be talking about them, okay? Because we are here to listen your input. Your information is important. It helps us to bring those topics to the Synod, to precisely tweak all the answers we need to get in order to help our future of the Diocese of Bridgeport, future of the youth ministry of the Diocese of Bridgeport. So how are we going to do it? There are 2 sections here in the audience. Let's call it section number 1, section number 2. We have volunteers with microphones. So in a moment, I'm going to open the forum and ask you the question. Please answer those questions. Don't be shy. Your answer does not have to be 5 minutes long. If it's 1 sentence, fine, okay? Don't be shy. Just say what you think, because all your thoughts and ideas are important. We need to hear from you, okay? So when we have somebody answering in section number 1, section number 2, already wave to the people with the microphones so they can see that you're willing to say your answer next. They will pass a microphone, so when somebody's finished here, you'll be ready to go to section number 2 and go back to section number 1, okay? Simple enough? All right? Okay. Let's start with the questions. You have to look at those questions really very simply, as they are. But they also have great depth to it. So any answer is good, all right? The first question is, name one thing that makes you proud to be a Catholic. Go. Section number 1. Don't be shy. Yes, great.
Hi. Well, I think one thing that really makes me proud to be Catholic is the corporal works of mercy that the Church does, especially in this diocese, like the hospitals, like Dorothy Day, stuff like that. I think it's really important, and I think if we really get like youth more involved, I think that'd be really a great thing to do.
Thank you. Section number 2. Don't be shy. Come on. You're not proud to be Catholic? Come on.
Okay, so I am proud to be Catholic.
Thank you.
So one thing that I love about being Catholic is that I'm able to serve. Like, I don't have to give a reason as to why I'm doing it, other than the fact that I've been given this gift to serve, and the fact that I love people and that I want to do something more to help benefit other people and to make a difference in the world. So for me, I love just the fact that I can serve, and our diocese does a really great job at giving us opportunities for youth to be able to be involved more. So.
Great. Thank you. Section number 1.
What I'm really proud of being a Catholic is that we never lose our faith. Since ever the beginning of the world, our religion has always been there. So it has never stopped, it has never ended. So that's what I think a real Catholic, this religion is true. That's what I'm saying.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Section number 2.
I think that... Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I think it's great to be such a part of a strong community that, obviously evident here that there's a worldwide Catholic community and that it really is strong almost anywhere you go, and it's great to be part of that.
Thank you. Section number 1. Bishop, I think this section is winning so far. This is a little bit too quiet.
Sorry.
Well, attendance to the Synod, of course.
I'm proud to be Catholic because it calls me to be greater than what the world calls me to be.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay, the thing that makes me proud to be a Catholic is just the hope of that I'll be saved once I leave this earth, and that there's always, Jesus is always there for me. So it just makes me proud to be a Catholic.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Section number 1. Yes.
I was going to say the pursuit of truth. We use faith and reason. We don't make the stuff up.
Thank you. Section number 2. Going once, going twice. Section number 1.
I'm proud to be Catholic because more than anything, it calls me to go out of myself every day and to love other people and everything more than myself.
Thank you. Great. Section number 2.
I'm proud to be Catholic because kind of like with Catholic charities and things like that, it's not just about us, it's about everybody else. You don't have to be Catholic to, experience the goodness and what we have the potential to do, that we have respect for others, that we can handle ourselves in that way.
Thank you. Appreciate. Section 1.
I'm proud to be a Catholic because we all share a community where we have the same beliefs and the same motives to be greater than we are.
Thank you. Section number 2. Section number 1.
Right here.
I'm proud to be Catholic because it gives me a sense of comfort. If I feel like I'm going to fail a test, I can just say a quick prayer, and that gives me a sense of comfort.
Thank you. Anybody here? Section number 1, please.
Okay, it's been a long time since I've been a kid, but I think it's important, our traditions, our religion is rooted in so much history. I think that that's very valuable for us. But I also think it's very comforting in knowing we're not living this life alone. And although we may feel, like I said, it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but you may feel lonely, but you're not by yourself. You're not doing this alone. There's always someone else there. And I think that's important.
Thank you. Section number 2. Yes, please.
I think it's pretty cool that just being a Catholic, there's always like forgiveness there, and you always get that second chance when you kind of screw up, and God's always there to just with open arms to forgive you.
Thank you. Section number 1. Yes.
Hi. I think one thing that makes me really proud to be a Catholic is the support. We've been talking a lot about charity, about love, about community, and it's very apparent. Catholics really know how to love each other, how to make lasting friendships, and I think that's something that's really great.
Thank you. Section number 2. Section number 1. Yes.
I'm proud to be Catholic because of our sacraments, because we have this wonderful gift of reconciliation that when we sin, we're able to come back up again, of the gift of the Eucharist where we receive the body and blood of Christ, the true body and blood. And not only that our church is a universal church. We could lean on one another and lift each other up, and we know we have each other's back.
Thank you. Section number 2. Yes, please.
I like being Catholic because we're very united. We work together, and through everything, we're always going to be with each other.
Thank you. Section number 1. Yes, we have in the back, please.
I am proud to be Catholic because of the tireless devotion the Church has to providing the sacraments. And that's a wonderful thing.
Right, thank you. Also, if you don't mind speaking a little bit louder because different microphones, different settings, so to make sure that we can all hear you. All right? Section number 2. Do we have anybody here? Yes.
I'm proud to be a Catholic because we all believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for us and he sacrificed himself for us, and that's really cool that we all have that same belief, and that's like the center of our religion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Section number 2, please.
I'm proud to...
Sorry.
Thank you. I'm proud to be Catholic because it's great to know that there's someone out there who will love me unconditionally and who has an ultimate plan for me, so that I know that even if I'm having a rough patch, it's all going to work out, and ultimately I will be happy.
Thank you. Section number 2. Section number 1. Yes, please.
I'm proud to be Catholic because of all the amazing saints that's come before us that have shown us a true way to give our life to God, and they've set an example of how to live, and it's just an amazing thing to study all the things they've done.
All right, thank you. Section number 2. Come on, guys. Come on. Now they are winning, and you're sleeping. Come on. Yes, thank you.
I'm proud to be Catholic because of the instant connection it gives me to other Catholics. I can go everywhere and meet new people that share this belief with me, and I think that's extremely powerful.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Section number 1. Yes, please.
Hi. Yeah, I would say I'm proud to be Catholic because it's always been there for me, and I was brought up as a Catholic, so yeah, I've learned to accept it and love it, and I think that it's really good that we have gatherings and stuff, so we're always together and connected. So, yeah.
Thank you. Let's do 2 more of them before we go to the next question. All right? Go ahead, please.
I'm proud to be a Catholic because we have a God that would give up his only son for us, and it just shows how unconditionally God loves us and that we're never really alone.
All right. We have another hand here somewhere. Yes, please.
I'm proud to be Catholic because we have the Vicar of Christ on earth that guides us, as well as the teaching authority of the Church that can point the way to us. It's not open just to us, or it's not just subject to our interpretation.
Thank you. All right. Bishop, you want to...
Is there one more?
One here? Okay, please, go ahead.
One more.
I'm proud to be Catholic because we have an amazing Pope. Because we have an amazing Pope, and we've had many popes that have become saints, and they're amazing.
All right, thank
Great.
you. Appreciate it.
Great. I told Monsignor, I can't help it. Now, your responses are great. And there's a commonality in some of them at least. It's about service, about my life not being about me. It's about community. It's about having the opportunity to help people, right? Okay. I need to know from you the answer to the following question. I want you to think through first just a bit. If you had to pick a type of service that you enjoy the most, get the most satisfaction out of, that you would want to do above every other type of service, because there's thousands of ways to serve people. If there's one type of service that really gives you spiritual satisfaction, what would it be? What would it be? Tell me. What would it be? Tell me. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric first.
Working with the elderly.
Working with the elderly. Okay, great.
I just feel like assisting the poor in general. This is something that Jesus really called us to do, so it's something that I feel like Catholics have an obligation to do, and it really makes me satisfied when I do it.
The poor, the elderly. Where else? Who else? Please.
Working at soup kitchens and feeding the poor and the hungry.
And because you see the poor up front, there's a face to the poor. You meet people. Great. What else?
I really enjoy homeless food runs, like the Midnight Run, but also helping other youth, like things like Convivio and stuff like that.
Does everybody know what the Midnight Run is? Right. How many of you have been on it? A good number. How many of you have done soup kitchen work? Oh, a lot. Working with the poor? Almost everyone. How about working with the elderly? A lot. Great. Other ideas? What else? What else gets your spiritual engine moving?
Working with special needs people just gives me the opportunity to come and help them more. It just gives me that sense of passion.
Special needs young people. Great. What else?
I would say writing letters to soldiers and people who are suffering, even if you can't see them face to face, it's a good way to show them you care.
And what's great about that is that you send the letter and you don't know a reaction. So it's a total gift. Great. What else? This side.
I like working with the younger kids who aren't really accustomed to our faith, and we can help them.
Spiritual mentoring. Great. What else?
I did a mission trip over the summer, and it was a urban housing development, and I think it was really great. I was able to help a single mom with her little son, and just seeing that you're really able to connect on a personal level and actually really make a difference. So.
Great. Excellent. Other things?
I like working with underprivileged children that may not get to have the opportunities that some other people get to have, and just to give them that experience makes them very happy, and just to see the smile on their face when they experience that is just very faith-filling.
Great. Others? Tell me. No, you please.
Bringing Christ to other people, more specifically, mission work with our brothers and sisters in different countries, poorer countries, just bringing Christ to them and showing the love that we receive from our parents and giving it to them.
Okay, so now we're going to switch gears. Flip the pancake. I was going to say the frittata, so you don't know what that is. All right, anyway. Tell me the type of service that makes you the most uncomfortable. The one that you would say, I'll do it only if I have to, but not because I want to. And I want you to be honest.
Bishop, section number 2, I think there is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I guess it's just because I'm a guy or whatnot, I don't know. But at my church, they always ask me to move stuff sometimes. And it's just one of those things where I'm just so it's just because I'm a guy, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. I don't blame you, actually.
Being a social worker, I don't have the internal strength to do that, and I'd only do it if I had to, just to please God.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. Others? Other ideas? This side? Uncomfortable. This side? Please.
Doing apostolate and evangelization in my daily life, because it requires me at all moments to go out of myself. So it's a constant struggle.
Absolutely. This side?
I would say the same. Evangelization, serving the spiritually poor, is the most difficult.
Thank you.
Just like those two, bringing Christ to people every single day in every single action you do. And it's very difficult, especially at work, at school, just being coherent Catholics.
Wow. Great. The service I find the most difficult to do would be ministering to the dying. Because when you're in the presence of someone who's dying, and it has been in my experience, it's very difficult to serve because there's not much you can say except be present. And it's a beautiful gift to give, but emotionally I find it very difficult sometimes to do that. There's always services that are a bit difficult. What did you want to add?
I was going to say, sometimes my parish makes sandwiches and they bring it under the bridge to the people. And, like, I feel good about doing that. But, like, the people are older and they're hungry and they're angry and they push and they shove and they, like, grab as many as they can. And it just makes me uncomfortable to be there and be pushed around and called names and stuff by other people.
And when you're trying to help them?
Yeah, it feels good afterwards, but, like, not during it when they're, like,
During.
shoving, trying to get the stuff.
Wow. Anything else? Thank you for your input. That is very helpful to me. Now we're back. After that station identification, we are back to the program.
All right. It was very good. Now, as you know, Synod decides about the future of the Diocese of Bridgeport in the sense that we come together to make some decisions. Those decisions are going to touch different areas of life in our church. Think about one idea, one topic, one thing that the Synod should talk about, in your opinion. Go.
Can I just qualify
Yes,
that
please.
too? And I want you to think in terms of your life, not the whole church, but something that would affect your life for the better, or your friends' lives for the better. Okay?
Please.
As a college student, I'm in an awkward stage in my life as being between adult and a youth. So I think I could speak on behalf of my other friends who are college students. It's very difficult coming back home sometimes, or at school, where it's hard to be Catholic because of the liberalism in this world. We're bombarded at public school just of what it is not to be Catholic. And so I would like the Synod to discuss in ways, events, to really cater to college students a little bit more.
Thank you. This side.
I think that the church really needs to work on bringing itself into the modern day, but it's going to be hard to find a balance between modernizing while not compromising some of the core parts of the church. So I think that really should be one of the things that is discussed a lot.
Thank you. Please.
Okay, I go to Laurelton Hall, so what we talk about is empowering women. So maybe we could talk about how women could get more involved in the church, being priests or something like that.
All right. This section.
As a part of a youth group myself, I think that one of the best things a church can do is to cater to young people more. And as a part of the Synod, I think that improving youth groups is a really good way of doing that. And that's what I think one of the more primary focuses of the church should be going forward, because young people are the future of the church.
Thank you. Section 1. Yes, we have in the back.
Hi. So I think it would be great if we could work on confirmation classes. My confirmation class was quite poor, and I know several people who went through quite a poor confirmation class experience. And maybe it's just a parish thing, and that brings to the second point. But if we could maybe reinforce the confirmation learning experience before the actual sacrament, that would be great. And 2, maybe have some more inter-parish activities, especially when it comes to youth. I'm almost graduating, and I might be coming home, and it scares me, like it was said, that what am I going to do after? And maybe as young adults, if we could have many parishes come together, young adults of different parishes come together and, I don't know, do things. That'd be great. So those 2 things.
Thank you. Section 2? Yes.
As he was saying before, how the youth group is a central part of us, because there's plenty of people who would rather stay home and say, I want to play Call of Duty for an hour. Why do I want to go to Mass when that's, boring? I think we should open up more to the younger people so that it's a fun and learning experience for them.
Great. Thank you. Section 1.
Going off what another speaker said, I think that we should really work on our CCD classes, because I know that as an elementary schooler and a middle schooler, I was really eager to learn about my faith, but I don't know if this is a parish thing, just as he said before, but I was kind of hindered from doing that by a lot of other people who weren't as interested, or as a curriculum that wasn't as in depth as I wanted to be, but I've learned a lot at Laurelton, which I think if we implemented that at a younger age would get a lot of more students involved.
All right, thank you. Section 2. Yes.
I think it's important to keep people involved even after completing a sacrament. There's so many kids, like I was in my confirmation class with only a handful I still see go to church every week. And a lot of parents, once their child finishes making their first Holy Communion, you don't see them again for a while until they're ready to make their confirmation. And I think it shouldn't be pause in between each thing. It should be one full life of it.
Thank you. Section 1, please.
I think we should work on getting more people to attend church every Sunday, because some Catholics only attend church on like Easter and Christmas.
All right, thank you. Section 2.
In my own personal experience, I think that like social perception and like how the public views the church is very important. Like I go to an Episcopal school, and I've had students who know that that's a part of me, and I'm not in other people's faces, but I think that's an integral part of myself. I've had people call God swear words and things like have been really targeted our faith, and I don't think that that's something that people should do. I think it should be respected like any other faith. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's we're persecuted or that we're able to openly practice our faith, but I think that's definitely important for people to have tolerance and respect for our church.
Great, thank you. Section 1.
I know this was said before, but I think religious education, because people take it for granted.
Thank you. Section 2. Yes, please.
Well, I think it's important to open up the church to more parts of the community. I mean, we have the whole gay community that struggles to be accepted into parts of the church, and I think it's important to open it up because I know, personally, I know people who have struggled to feel accepted in the community, and they still want to be a part of the church, but they feel like they can't once they've made that change in their life.
All right, thank you. Section 1, please.
Proper youth involvement in ministries like lectors or Eucharistic ministers. There's some lectors that I've been to certain parishes, and they just rush through the readings and stumble over every single word, like they haven't practiced it or they haven't really put their heart into it. And also other Eucharistic ministers in certain parishes I've been to, and you could tell that they're young, but then it becomes very obvious when they're wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and sandals and laughing as they're giving out the Eucharist. So I think that's something that we should discuss.
True. Thank you. Section 2. Yes, please.
I think we should discuss how us as the youth could help people that are suffering, like youth that are also suffering, like at home, like things that happen at home, how
Sure.
we can help them.
All right, thank you. Section 1.
I would say that the Synod should discuss encouraging parents to send their children to the Catholic schools in the diocese. I have gone to Catholic school for almost 10 years now, and it's been very important to me, and I've really enjoyed my time there. And I think that more people should take advantage of the wonderful schools that they have to offer in the diocese.
Great, thank you. Section 2. Section 1. Yes, please.
Hi. Okay. One thing that I think should be discussed is keeping churches open. At night, I know perpetual adoration is very hard to keep going, but I know it's really, really beneficial both for myself and my friends. I know St. Mark's in Stratford is open, but that's kind of far. And just to have that open to people because the youth don't like to go to things at normal hours.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Section 2.
I think just generally spreading our faith to others is something that we should focus more on because God is a wonderful thing. And getting more youth into the church will increase participation at Mass, and just to spread our faith with others, I think is really important.
Thank you. Section 1, please.
I think we should work on having more charity projects available, especially just locally. It doesn't have to be to Africa or another country, but just getting more involved in our community. And also for confirmation classes, I think that they should allow the kids, give them the opportunity to more form a personal relationship with God than a fundamental idea, because I feel like that's the difference between people who go to church on Sunday and people who don't.
Thank you. Section 2. Yes, please.
I think there should be a level of reverence for the church just everywhere in church and out of church, because you see those people who in church are the big God person, and then outside they're just angry about everything. And I think there just needs to be a straight level of God in your life no matter where you are.
Thank you. Section 1, please.
I have a few friends that are gay, and they left the church because they felt like they weren't accepted. So I think that we should give classes or have meetings or clubs and throughout parishes and throughout the diocese so that they know really how the church feels about them and how they really are accepted, and they could come back to the church and they will feel accepted and be loved.
Thank you. Section 2. Anybody? Section 1. Yes.
I think the Synod ought to discuss Eucharistic reverence and the lack of availability of the sacrament of confession.
Thank you. Section 2. Section 1.
I feel like we should have a more importance or more acceptance of people who aren't Catholic, but including them in our service. Because I feel like a lot of people just think there's service projects you can do, and then there's Catholic service projects you can do, and you can't really be a part of that unless you're Catholic. And if you really want to bring youth into the church, then that's really, I feel like, the best way that you can do that.
Thank you. A couple more questions for this. We have one here, please, and one there. Please.
I think these are a lot of great ideas, and I was kind of piggybacking on a few of them. One of them I think is really important is to have a place for the youth to feel connected to the Mass and to really participate. I speak very highly of our parish, but I think that there's a bit of a disconnect between these young people and participating fully in the Mass. And I also, what was my other thought? Who made a last comment? Someone just made a last comment about something. Oh, no, shoot. But along those same lines. Okay, let's go with that one. How about acceptance for everyone? I know it was this young man back here. Yes. I had the wonderful opportunity 2 weeks ago to go to a bas mitzvah. Here's the Irish Catholic. Unbeknownst to me, I had no idea that most Jewish young people do not do this. I think it's great that our kids get confirmed, but I think that the kids that are living their faith are the ones that are here. The ones that are not here are not living their faith every day, and those are the kids that get confirmed to go through the motions. As a former religious education teacher, that was always frustrating for me, but I think that it's really vital that our kids live their faith and they feel connected to what's happening at Mass. We have lots of wonderful special skills that kids have that don't always feel like they can come up and say something. And, I'm really great at playing the piano or great at playing the guitar or something. They don't feel connected to that, but I think that's really important. And the other thing, one more thing, going to the bas mitzvah, they accepted all of us no matter who we were. And I spoke earlier about the traditions that we have in our religion, and I love that. But I also feel like it's very off-putting for some people. And I think if we have family or friends that come to Mass with us, why do we not encourage them to go up and get a blessing? They can't receive communion, but they should be fully accepted as part of our Mass as well.
Thank you. And we have section number 2.
I think we should discuss a way in which your faith is something that's not just done on Sunday or in CCD, but it's something that's lived throughout the week.
Thank you. And one more? Yes, please.
Well, I think that some people just go to Mass because they think that just being a Catholic is going to Mass, going to Easter Sunday, But what I'm trying to say is that you should get, church should, get the people who are, sitting in the corner in church doing nothing or just going along, that they should encourage them to do something, to get them involved in the church. I know that some people just, like I said, they're just sitting in the corner listening to Mass, but they just go and after the Mass is done, they just leave. So I was thinking maybe just people to, maybe the priest over there or a nun to talk to them and tell them, get involved or something in a way.
Thank you. Turning microphone to Bishop.
I have a question and an idea. Question. Take a deep breath. I need a very blunt answer. For your friends and those people that you live with and go to school with, your age, who are not coming to Mass, what would you think is the primary reason why they are not coming to Mass? Tell me.
Their parents might not want to take them.
Good. That's one. What else?
They're too busy.
Too busy. Good. What else?
They don't like all the rules.
All the rules. Great. What else?
I think just the, the need to conform to the social perception, that it wouldn't, it's not cool to
Go to
believe
Mass.
in God or go to Mass. Take that hour even on Sunday to be enlightened, to do that.
Great. Other things.
They think the church is intimidating because there are lots of rules.
Say, I can't hear you. Say it a little loud.
They might be intimidated by the church.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Thank you. What else?
I think also our society definitely disencourages us from going to church on Sundays. If you have games, I don't think there should be games on Sundays. There shouldn't be there should be acceptance and availability. There should be the availability for us to go to church on Sundays instead of practicing or going to games.
Okay. What else?
A bad incident happened in their life that made them think that God hates them.
Ah. Wow. Okay. What else?
Well, sometimes it can be kind of boring, for younger people.
Say that a little louder.
It can be boring. Yeah.
I've heard that from a lot of people. Especially, well, anyway, keep going.
They call us hypocrites.
Say it again. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
They
attention.
call us hypocrites.
Ah. What else?
I think most youth our age put it more not as a primary thing they should be doing, is more of down on the list.
Yep. What else? Oh,
there's nothing for them. There's nothing for them to do. It's just go to Mass and go home.
And go home. Good. Thank you. What else?
I think it's because some people are too afraid because of their sexuality. Maybe because they're gay, they don't feel like they're going to be accepted in our church. So.
Got it. What else?
Ignorance. They don't fully understand the church's views and teachings.
Okay. Other things?
I feel like there's some people who have doubt in their mind. Do I really have to go this whole hour? I don't even know if this stuff's real or things like that. Is it worth going that hour and spending my time if I'm not positive about it?
Great. Other things?
I actually have my best friend's gay, and she's 21, and she's terrified of going to church because she doesn't feel like she'd ever be accepted there.
What else?
Some people might just not feel like they belong in the entire youth culture of a church. Maybe they don't feel like that's a thing they want to be a part of because they're so used to different ways, maybe tradition or culture or whatever. But I think the church needs to make it more accessible.
What else?
When my friends finally get out to the liturgy and it's not done well, or prayer becomes sentimental and things aren't done well, they look for emotion. It's not satisfying and they don't come back.
Others?
Some people, if they have doubts about their faith, they might feel like they can't go to church or anything because they have a doubt. But it's normal to sometimes have doubts about your faith, and that you have to overcome that. And going to church and participating in the church will help you overcome that.
Okay. Others?
I think it's a combination of misunderstanding, apathy, and pride.
Wow.
I would say people our age are just pretty lazy.
Lazy.
Yeah.
The mentality that they have too many unanswered prayers.
Okay. Others? Wow.
Some people that I talk to, it's just that they're kind of lazy and they don't feel like getting up in the morning to go or whatnot. But also the fact that some people feel that with tragedies going on in life, with things that happen bad, or they just don't understand how can there actually be a God and let this happen.
Other things, please.
Nobody said this, but I've seen that as kids get to a certain age, sex is normal, and if you're having sex, you feel odd if you go to church.
Other things. Other things. Here we are.
I think that the church has a bad rep when it comes to the news or pop culture, because they don't focus on the good things. They focus on the scandals and here's the bad stuff. So I think that because of that, I don't want to be associated with that, even though that doesn't really make up a large part of the church.
Right. Others.
What I really think is that sports are one of the problems. One of this old friend used to never go to Sunday Mass because he says that soccer practice or soccer game has always been first to him, and he
Right. May I ask another? Thank you for all that input. There's more, please. Keep.
I feel that people don't realize the significance of Mass and what the Eucharist really means, and they just think it's like sitting down and standing up, and they don't actually realize you're receiving Jesus there.
Right. What else? What else on this side?
I also think that in families, it's introduced like early in life that it's not that important to go to church every single week. More important on Christmas and Easter, most of all. So I think that it should be introduced more as a necessity to go every week.
Got it. Good. What else?
Some people think it's too hard to be a coherent Catholic, and they take the easy way.
Wow. Wow, these are great. Wow.
They feel that after getting confirmation that they don't have to go anymore because they're done with it.
Confirmation is graduation. Got it. What else? Well, no, I'm this side now. This side.
I think they take Mass as a lecture and not a participation.
Ooh, well said. Well said.
I think a lot of times people might be afraid of being judged if they go into church, or they won't be accepted for, if it's their sexuality or if it's something else that's going on. And they're afraid also that if they don't fully believe in God, if they have doubts, that the church might not be the place for them, even though, everybody has doubts about their faith at some point. It's important to them.
Can we just interrupt for a second? How many of you have gay or lesbian friends? Raise your hand. Wow. And how many of you have had friends say to you about their doubts of their faith? Wow. Wow. Get all that down. Wow. Any other last thoughts before I give you my idea, and then I'm going to be quiet so Monsignor Darius can finish the meeting here.
They don't think there's anything in it for them. They go to Mass, and then they get nothing like food or anything. They don't get anything solid out of it.
Got it. Please.
The words stop the things that are said stop having a meaning towards them. They don't understand, or it just doesn't make sense to them.
Got it.
I don't know if this was said because a lot of great answers here, but a lot of them think church is just a business and all they do is want your money. That's all the church is looking for, and that's it. You go in, you make your donation, and go out, and they ask for more money and money and money. So that's one reason.
Okay. I think that it's doubt sometimes, they don't want to go kind of thing, but also some are kind of shameful of what they've done in the past, so they think, oh, I can't do this. I can't go anymore. I've done something terrible. So yeah, I don't know.
Any other thoughts?
I just have a question, and maybe some of you on the panel can answer this. There's a perception that, at least in the Catholic Church as a whole, that the youth is not part of it. When we know that that's not true, right? But in other religions, is there a strong youth piece there? Because I was going to say, if there is, what are they doing that we're not?
Right.
And I know technology is infused to a lot of that, and I know that that's kind of where we're going, but I don't know if that's part of it.
Well, let me say this, to defer to the Commission. We're going to look at that at the Synod. But the latest evidence is that the vast majority of young people are not religiously affiliating in any religion. For a lot of the reasons you said, which are excellent, I think are happening even in other churches besides the Catholic Church. In other churches. Now, this is my idea. I want you to put it right here in the back of your head. Let it marinate here, because we're going to talk about it in the Synod and in our associate delegation, like the other gatherings. I would like to propose to the Synod the creation of a Catholic youth corps. And what that would be is, it would be an umbrella under which all the various service organizations, programs, and anything else somebody wants to create would be under one umbrella, which means every single young person would be called to service, and you would be able to say, okay, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that, I want to do this. But the call to arms would be everybody's in service. And we're going to do not just young people, but everybody in the church is going to be called to service, young and old alike. But in order to do that, what I'd like to do, it's just an idea, because I have no idea how this would work, is to put everybody together. Putting everybody side by side to do it. Think about it. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it in the next year, but it came to me when I was praying, and I thought, perhaps that's what we need to do. Anyway, I will now sit over here in the corner, and Monsignor will continue with the meeting.
Thank you,
Monsignor,
Bishop.
you're doing an excellent job. Continue.
Thank you, Bishop. Okay, we're going to number 3. This is a piece that we need to use your imagination. This is your wish list. Imagine for a moment that you have one wish granted, okay? But that wish can apply only to the Diocese of Bridgeport. The question is, what would you like to change in the Diocese of Bridgeport? Your wish list. Let's go section number 1, please. We have somebody in the corner.
One wish that I have is that we make Catholic school more affordable, because I went to Catholic school for 10 years, and now this is my second year in public school, and I really wish I could go back to Catholic school. And my little brother is in Catholic school, and he might not be able to go next year because it's really expensive.
Thank you. Section 2.
Well, one thing I wish to change is the CCD program, which I think was mentioned before, but I went through the CCD program before I went to Catholic school, and I even helped teach it. And so many kids are uninterested, and it's boring, and they don't like it. And that's the future of the church, and the fact that they don't want to do anything with church after going through it isn't really a good thing. So.
All right. Section 1, please. Here. Okay.
In my church, we have a program, St. Joseph's, we have a program for like 3 to 5-year-olds where in the 9 o'clock mass, they take the kids into another room and they just they play games, but they teach them things. And I think we need more of that, just because, I mean, if you have 3 small children, you're not going to bother going to church, even if you feel strongly about your faith, because juggling 3 small kids and they're not really getting anything out of it doesn't really seem worth it.
All right. Good. Section 2.
One of the big things for me is that you and I, we come from 2 different generations of people. You've grown up with different things than we have. And I feel like the whole racial thing and stuff like that, and what's your sexual preference thing, around that has been kind of today more normal. I'm not going to think differently of someone based on their race or gender, as back then and whenever further and further back it was different.
Bishop, I didn't know I'm that old. But thank you.
And also, I feel that take away God from the Catholic Church and take away that stuff, what you're left with is a giant friendship and unity of a group of people who are all together. So I feel that that's happening more on its own in modern society, and that's why less and less people are coming to church in certain aspects, because they think, well, okay, the God part's not as neat as it is when I can make friends so easily and I can find groups of people that I fit in with.
Thank you. Section number 1.
I think I would have a greater increase on growing holy families, because that's where strong Catholics and strong faith gets its root from. And if you have a strong holy family, then it helps you to live your faith as you grow older in your life.
Thank you. Section 2.
Going to a Catholic school, we are only allowed to go to church once a week, and I feel that we should be able to go to church more often, because I feel like as a part of our Catholic faith, we should be able to have the option to go to church more often.
Thank you. Wish list continue. Section number 1, please.
I'd like to see the perception changed that the young people are the future of the church. Young people are the church.
Thank you. Section number 2, please.
One thing I would like to change is I get that the church has been through a lot of scandals and a lot of problems, but there's so many rules and regulations that the diocese has for us to do anything sometimes. And one thing that turns away a lot of people at our church especially is that there's so many liability forms we have to sign, so many adults we have to have in a car with 3 or 4 children. And I get all that, but it's so annoying when you're trying to do a service op and you can't do it because you have to have all these rules and regulations to go.
Appreciate it. Section 1, please.
I'd like to see a type of CCD class for older kids, like high schoolers and even college kids, so that they can continue learning about their faith even after confirmation.
Thank you. Section number 2.
I wish that the church was not so political. I think that, the church is involved in a lot of politics that it really shouldn't be. I think that, we need to focus on what the church is about and not try and make that into something that we're protesting about, or something that we're really trying to enforce upon people that don't really want it.
All right. Thank you. Section 1.
everything we do in our church stems from our Eucharistic faith. The Eucharist is a source and summit of our faith. So all of these things can't be possible without the Eucharist. So if I had one wish, I would wish for an increase in Eucharistic reverence. Now, you can't mandate interior participation or reverence, but the church can create an environment where that is most easy and easy to follow along with. So I think it's a shame that in some of our churches we walk in and we have to look around for the tabernacle. And that in some places we go, the Eucharist is not handled reverently or carefully. And if all this, and some of our tabernacles aren't fit for our priest, prophet, and king that we talked about this morning at Mass. So if I had one wish, I would focus it on the Eucharist and try to do the best we can as a church to increase Eucharistic reverence.
Thank you. Section 2.
I think for the youth, again, kind of an increase in services. You know, you can't feasibly go in the morning. I think also have more of an understanding for like the integral role that like Eucharistic adoration plays. Like for me especially, that's like really a special time for me to kind of see God in a tangible way and to experience His grace more fully. So I think if those types of services were more readily available, that would be beneficial.
Thank you. Section 1.
I think kids should, Catholic schools should accommodate kids with disabilities.
Thank you. Section 2.
This past summer, I attended a religious camp named Camp Veritas, and every day we had teen adoration, and it included music, individual prayer, and group prayer, and it all gave us a great way to have one-on-one time with Jesus. And I feel like if we incorporate more teen adoration into the diocese, we can all strengthen our bond with God.
Thank you. Section 1.
I would say more events for kids that aren't in high school, because by the time that they get to high school, like our confirmation class is 8th grade and we lose them. So them coming to events like this, I mean, we have an 8th grader with us today, but it's hard for them. They don't want to be involved anymore after that. So we're starting a youth group for 6th and 7th graders too at our church.
Thank you. Section 2.
I feel like the sacrament of confession should be more available throughout the month, the year, because personally as a high schooler, 4 to 5 on a Saturday afternoon is kind of a tough time for me. I try to go once a month, maybe every other month, but then before you know it, you haven't been for a year, and then you don't want to face your sins. You don't want to recall everything and go to confession.
All right, thank you. Section 1, please.
Going off what an earlier student said, I think that we should increase the availability of going to a Catholic school, especially a single-sex Catholic education. Because I go to Laurelton Hall, and above everything else, I feel like it has taught me to like come out of my shell, and I have never been in a more welcoming community, and just to know that you share the same beliefs and you share the same faiths, and I'm so different than a lot of girls that I'm like best friends with, and it's just such an amazing atmosphere that I think everybody should have the opportunity to be a part of.
Thank you. Section 2. Section 1, please.
I also go to Laurelton Hall, and what I like about it is when we have Mass, we have like cool songs that we have like music practice, and every Mass we sing Lord I Need You during communion. And even if the people there aren't really Catholic or anything, everyone sings along, and it's this uplifting environment. So I think updating the music that's more relatable rather than old and stuff like that will definitely encourage people to sing, and I think that's a great thing to do.
Excellent. Thanks. Section 2. Section 1.
Okay. Can I have 2 wishes?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess, Bishop, we grant 2, yes.
Wishes? Okay. That some regulations be followed a little bit more strictly, because the less we follow them, I feel the more they're imposed and more are imposed on us, and then we have to follow extra, and then the cycle continues and we get more regulations, and then we follow them, and then we don't follow them, and then we get more and more. And also that each parish has enough money to survive.
Thank you. Anybody else before we... Section 1, please.
Can I get 2 also? First is less boring homilies. That'd be really great. I mean, I know it's hard to ask, but just at least a bit of preparation would be great. 2 is more diocese-wide activities, things like Fan the Fire, things like Convivio. An idea of mine is the underground, the Catholic underground that happens in New York. If you could have something like that here, I don't think it's very hard to do. Just have a church and have some music, and there you go. You got it. Maybe some candles. So things like that, where everybody from the diocese get together, and the youth in particular, that'd be great.
All right. Couple more, maybe? Yes, please.
We've been talking a lot about staying Catholic not just on Sundays. So maybe events that are with Catholic people, but not necessarily at Catholic locations. So I know people that are 21 plus have theology on tap. I'm 20, so I can't go to that. But other things that kind of appeal to people, maybe fundraisers, because people are more likely to go to a restaurant for a fundraiser because they think that they're helping people and also get to have that community.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? One more, please.
So if having all these programs like Fan the Fire, Convivio, those programs are really cool, but if the diocese isn't reaching out to different parts of our diocese, then a lot of churches aren't going to be they're not going to know about it. And then how many kids are going to know about it? I'm from being Stanford, going to St. John's, I know a lot of us don't even know what these programs are about. And then when I come to them, I see that it's the majority Trumbull, Fairfield and Bridgeport. So I think we really need to get other churches involved throughout our diocese.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Going off what Madeline said, just having more opportunities for kids who might not be as involved in their faith to go and ask questions and have it be more of a welcoming environment. Theology on tap, some kids might be intimidated going to a youth group, and having more opportunities for kids to learn and meet friends who are Catholic.
Thank you. Bishop, yes? I'm sorry, yes. Okay.
I'm a graduate from this Notre Dame, and I really enjoyed the ability to go to daily Mass. It strengthened my faith incredibly, and I think it would be great to really encourage all the high schools to bring people to daily Mass, because I had a lot of friends that weren't Catholic, but I'd encourage them to go just to experience it, and it really brought a lot of people to the faith. I know I had 2 friends get confirmed while here, and it was through attending daily Mass and having that encounter with Christ in the Eucharist that really strengthened them. So to encourage that for all the high schools.
Thank you. A couple more.
Yep. Yeah. I actually have one. Sorry. How about ensuring that each parish within the diocese has someone that is in charge of the youth ministry? Because I know that there are some parishes that either lack a youth ministry and want youth ministry, but they have no one, and they either look somewhere else or look to another parish. But at least if there's someone there that can take charge, or ensuring that there is someone in charge of the youth there, that way they can have that support there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Well, at my church, at every 9 o'clock Mass, we have a folk group that sings really fun, updated songs. And at that Mass, I notice a lot more youth. So, yeah, I think updating the music would really help to bring more youth to the church.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I think, at least at our church, we have a 5 o'clock teen Mass every Sunday. And I think in order to, increase teen participation, if churches had, a Mass designated for teenagers to come, and what was discussed in the church was more focused towards teenagers, that would be helpful to them.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Going off of what Eric said, I would wish for equal money management throughout the entire diocese, because all these programs are all great ideas, and the one problem most of them have is there's no funds. There's some parishes who can do them because they have the money to do it, but then there's others they're just poor parishes. They don't have anything. And then these programs, they eventually die away. Some don't even have youth groups because there's just no funds to keep the youth group going. And so that's something that I would really want.
Good. Thank you. Yes, please.
I would like to see more consecrated people as priests or nuns or any consecrated person more in the streets. Because we wait for the youth, we wait for people to come to church, we say our activities there, and then we ask why is nobody here? Because we're waiting for them to come. I would like to see more people out there inviting I personally like to go and invite people, and they ask me, "Are you Catholic?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am," and they don't believe me because they don't see people out there inviting them to church, especially consecrated, not in offices. That's not what people are looking for. We want them out there, looking for them.
Thank you. I think we have somebody here. Yes, please.
I guess more times for church, because a lot of people don't want to go to church, partially because how early it is. So I feel like if we have more times for church, a lot of, I guess, youth and a lot more people will come to church.
Different mass times?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Monsignor,
yes.
This is not scripted, but can I suggest a 5-minute stretch session? I don't know if anybody, I know it's not on the schedule, but I see a lot of yawns and people. It's kind of warm back here.
Sure.
So, like sort of a halftime.
Would you like to lead us in exercises?
Not immediately, but soon.
Well, before the next two questions, I think, yes. But let's finish this one. Yes, please.
I have another wish. I think this was mentioned earlier, but I'd just like to expand on it a little bit. All right. I wish for an increase in the availability of the sacrament of reconciliation. If you just entertain this for a second. Say you fall into a mortal sin on a Tuesday, or you feel the urge to go to confession on a Tuesday. What do? You go to your parish website, and you look for the reconciliation hours, and you see Saturday from like 2 to 4, or by appointment. I don't know what that means. But that is largely most of the parishes at our diocese. So then what do? You can't go until Saturday. You sin again. And you keep sinning. And then that sin becomes a habit, and then Saturday comes, and you don't want to go to confession anymore. So I think it'd be cool at any time during the week that if you want to go to confession, it's available to you.
All right, thank you. Yes, please.
I think having good preachers for the youth, because the youth relate to younger people. So whether it's bringing in someone that can do a circuit around youth groups, around parishes, that can talk, that can inspire our youth, whether it be during Mass at a homily or after Mass, something put on for the youth. But I think having good preachers and speakers come and talk to the youth that they're relatable to, I think would be very important.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Third and last wish, but more bilingual programs that cater to like different languages. And for me, I would say Spanish, because I don't see a lot of people here that speak both English and Spanish fluently, or just Spanish, because there's no programs for them. Convivio is all in English. Fan de Fire is completely in English. And I feel like I have friends that they don't speak very good English, and they speak mostly Spanish, and then I invite them, but they're like, no, I don't want to go, because then what do I get out of it? I understand nothing.
Good point.
I think that there should be like a more modern way of learning it, like in like a different way of saying things, because like just saying that there was Noah in the ark, and like ways that we can like relate to things that are said in the Bible and things that happen in our religion.
All right, thank you. Just one more, okay?
I know that this has already been mentioned, but I think that increasing the excitement of the music would bring so many more young people to church, because once my parish brought this group to church, and it was so fun. There was clapping, did all these crazy riffs, and it was just the most fun I've ever had at church. And everyone in the parish at first, because we're all just like swaying awkwardly, but at the end everyone was clapping, and it was so fantastic. And I think that even if you don't do it at every single Mass, if you offer a few Masses where the music is just engaging and more like the music that we listen to, I mean, I'm not saying go heavy rock or anything, but I'm just saying like a little bit more excitement, and then I think that will bring a lot more youth into the church.
Thank you. Any more?
Can I go? Just touching on some of the financial comments that were made, I'm very lucky, and I come from a parish who has a youth ministry budget, and our budget is also well supported, our program, by parents who make financial donations. But I almost wonder if next year for the annual Bishop's Appeal, if one of the little areas was youth ministry. And that may get more people to contribute to the annual Bishop's Appeal, and then maybe some of that money could be used for some of these parishes who can't afford youth ministry programs.
It's an excellent idea. Yep. One of many. I'm sorry.
Yes. Please.
I think this has already been touched on, but I think mostly some of my friends that I have don't come to Catholic, like churches or schools, because they think that the things they do aren't going to be accepted, and they think that we're a really strict community, but I try to tell them that we're not, and we accept any people, anything that they do, and if they would just come to God and they would confess and just let Him, I guess, forgive them, then they would be accepted.
Great.
Yes, please.
I have a spiritual director, and that has helped me a lot, but I think that a lot of kids lose direction because maybe they space out during Mass, or they don't like the priest that's at their church. So I know in like the Catholic high schools, they have priests and you can go and talk to them, but for the kids that go to public school, maybe having priests available in the diocese that they can go and talk to.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Well, I think Bishop... No,
there's one more.
One more? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry. What I noticed a lot about my work with the youth is that they don't know a lot about what the church teaches exactly on sex and all that stuff. And they just know, like, oh, don't do it before marriage and, like, don't use contraception. But, like, I feel like if they learn, like, the roots of those teachings and the church's teaching on love and the theology of the body and all that stuff, I think that would really help them to understand where we're coming from when these rules are put in place.
All right, thank you. I think there is somebody behind as well. Yes, please.
I think they should have counseling services for people struggling with their faith.
All right, thank
Excellent
you.
idea.
Anybody else?
Monsignor, why don't we do this?
Okay.
Do you feel the need to stretch a bit? Okay. You have 5 minutes. Stretch, but I want you to do something in the 5 minutes besides stretch. I want you to go to someone in this room that you have never met and introduce yourself. Okay? Get up, stretch, walk around, 5 minutes.
Nice.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Oh, yes. What is your... Come. Let's all gather around. Because our plan, my friends, is we will be finished at 3:30. So we have about 30 minutes left. We have one question, open comment, announcements, and then we all go enjoy this beautiful day outside. Okay? Monsignor, you're doing an excellent job. Congratulations.
Thanks, Bishop.
Let's give him a round
Bishop
of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we're going to talk about something I think is very close to each of us, technology. Some of us cannot imagine life without iPhone or without internet. Things like we're disconnected. That's the part of our life. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Obviously, technology itself is a tool that we can use in many different ways. The question is to you today, how can we use this technology, and I mean in a very broad spectrum, anything, to the benefit of the church, to the benefit of our diocese? How can we implement technology to make it more attractive to you and to anybody else? Go. Section number 1.
Okay, so I have been on many retreats, like Emmaus retreats, and many convivios, and throughout those, one of the most powerful part of those retreats are witness talks to help people understand personal stories about their encounters with Christ and to help them understand the faith more. So I think that by using technology such as webinars or like something similar to TED Talks would be really cool to help people get these witness talks on the internet from people in our diocese and help them understand the Catholic faith better.
Sounds good. Section number 2, please.
I know that for like Apples and for Androids, there's a Bible app. But I also think for youth today, if they were exposed to applications about Jesus, they wouldn't really open to it. So to kind of like trick them into their minds, just like put something out there that's teaching them while they're still having fun at the same time, so that they learn more about Jesus. And I guess what I said, still have fun.
So creating new apps, basically, or something like that. Okay, great. Thank you. Section number 1.
As a youth minister, communication's imperative, and I think it's kind of foolish that we don't use social media more often, because that is the way people communicate now in this generation. So I know we've been making a big push to use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a whole bunch of different mediums of social media to get the message out there and evangelize, and I think that's important as a diocese as well.
Thank you. Section number 2, please.
I think, like, just as we're doing here, we can have, like, I don't know if there's a Synod website, but like a forum on the internet where like the public and people who can't be here today or something like that, they can post their ideas and like their answers to these questions, so we can have an even broader answers from other people.
Thank you. Section number 1, please.
I was thinking that for really sick people, we could record our parish's Mass and then put it online. And then after that, we could have some people bring them the Eucharist, so that, like, you're not just watching a generalized Mass. You're watching, like, your parish, your pastor, the people you know.
Okay, thank you. Section number 2, please. Do we have anybody?
Yeah, I feel like that idea of a youth umbrella could be really spread through use of, like, websites and social media to get that word out easier and raise awareness for those programs.
Thank you. Section 1.
I think that Twitter is a great idea because it shows that we're like relatable. Like that Pope selfie is probably like the biggest thing that people have heard of that aren't even Catholic. So just like tweeting and using hashtags and stuff to show that we're not just like old people from the 1500s traditions, that like we can like adapt to modern times. I think that would be a great thing to do.
Thank you. We don't have a Pope here, but I think if you want to have a selfie with the bishop, he might be convinced to stay behind a little bit. All right, section number 2, please.
I think a more unified online presence for the diocese and maybe for the churches, because I've seen a wide range of church websites and some of them aren't very good. So if the diocese had like a way to really mandate that, or make it so that every church has a Facebook page or a Twitter account, or even a diocese Twitter, that would be a great way to kind of one place to go to get all the information you need and make it much easier.
Thank you. Section 1.
My comment was just like that. A lot of people now have smartphones, Androids, iPhones, and I think it would be really smart to have a Diocese of Bridgeport app where all the parishes are listed, all the events, all the times of reconciliation, the times of Mass, daily Mass. Not only that, but have an app for the youth so that the youth are aware of when these events are taking place, because this diocese is very large, and oftentimes the parishes up north who are very far from like Sacred Heart where Convivio happens, it's very difficult for them to like find out of these events. And so just better communication and through an app which is very user friendly would be very nice.
Thank you. Just one comment. I think we have app coming up this summer. It's already in pre-release. Okay, thank you.
Well, kind of touching on the point before about everyone's wishes and how some parishes don't have enough money to go on these events. Well, some parishes do, and so I think as like a diocese app, we should have the events for every single church, like teen events that they're doing, so other people from different churches who don't have the money to go can join someone else, so everyone can like get linked together through that.
Thank you. Section 1.
I think that we can use video chatting to talk to people from other countries or from places that we can't send our missionary workers to, because at my school we have this video chatting with an all-girls school in Gambia where we can talk and relate different cultures, and I think that maybe we could use that to spread our faith to other countries as well.
Thank you. Section 2.
And also, given a good idea, we can also video chat with the bishop, and then the bishop can meet with many students at one time from all the different churches, and then it doesn't have to be everyone's gathered together, and we don't have to find rides, and people from all across our county can hear from you and ask you questions on like a webinar.
All right, thank you. Anybody number 2? Number 1, please.
Okay,
to like encourage programming and the use of technology in like Catholic schools, so that then these kids that are learning programming and technology, they can come up with more ideas to like implement the technology with the parish and the diocese.
Thank you. And please.
Just to let everybody know, the Diocese of Bridgeport has just developed an app for iPhones and Androids, and we do have a Twitter link, we do have a youth Facebook page, a regular Facebook page, and a diocesan website, www.bridgeportdiocese.com, and you can download the app from there.
Thank you. Section 2. Yes, please.
Everyone loves the internet. Everyone loves Twitter and social media. But I think some of us use it in a way that we shouldn't be. And with the whole idea of, making the Catholic Church more open to people, I think we should make it open and inviting, but I also don't think we should, campaign in a sense, oh yeah, join the Catholic Church, it's so amazing and stuff. I think we should make it so that it's open, that people will find it themselves, because I feel like more and more people are being born into the Catholic Church and don't find it themselves. And I think that's a big part of people's faith.
Okay, thank you. Section 1, please.
At my grandparents' church, they have these screens where they project the songs onto it with the words. So and the prayers, because I know everything changed for the church, and so people would stop using the saying oh, I don't know it and that's why I'm not saying it. You could just project it onto the screen. Everyone can see it from there.
All right, thank you. Section 2, please.
I didn't know that we had the diocesan Twitter and Facebook pages, so maybe if we put the links in the weekly bulletins in church or on the websites, on each church parish website, so that we would have the links right there so that we could know to go to it, because I didn't know, so.
All right, thank you. Section 1.
Adding more technology into our classes, our CCD classes. I'm a confirmation teacher, and our class is 8:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and they're all asleep most of the time, and so that's why they don't get a lot out of it. So if we did something on a smart board or something, they might pay more attention.
May I interrupt one thing here? Following on this one, what do you think about using e-books in our schools and in our CCD programs on your iPads? Anybody?
I go to Immaculate High School, and we use e-books on our iPads, and it's awesome. It's really beneficial. You don't have to lug all the books around, and you can highlight everything. All your tools are right there, so I think it's extremely beneficial.
Okay. Anybody else, please?
I actually had the microphone for the last question, but I'll answer this one anyway. I think it would be cool if we did do ebooks. I know when I read on my Kindle, my favorite thing is the dictionary, where I could highlight the word and I don't have to look it up. It's right there. It'd be awesome if for our Catholic books we had a theological dictionary or something, just because there's a lot of big Catholic words out there that people don't understand. And I think it would be cool if you had instant access. Yeah.
All right, thank you. You can answer anything. Obviously, this is a technology question, but I just drove it up, so thank you.
And I guess my last comment for the technology was, as a nerd, I read the catechism quite often, but I would like to see the catechism not be so associated as something that only smart people or well-read people or nerds read. I think it would be cool if there was an interactive tool online where you could look up a category and you get a catechism answer in layman's terms. So that way, because it's really difficult to navigate a catechism if you've never picked one up before.
Thank you.
Based on your comment, may I interrupt just for a second? Pause for station identification. 2 things. How many of you are aware that there is a youth catechism? Okay, UCAT. No? Good, okay, good. Most of you do. Number 2, now I'm going to show my age, but I'm very curious. If I were to ask you, what is the principal way by which you get your information? Information meaning from your friends. How do you exchange information amongst your friends? What is the number 1? Texting? Texting. Emails? See, that's ancient, right? That's what I do. Okay, so we don't do that anymore. We do texting. Any other ways? Facebook, through social media. So so the bottom line is this: I need to know this. I need to know this because I need to know how much I need to catch up. Okay? So if email is not it, that's old stuff. Texting, tweeting, me. Oh, okay, I will. I promise. That's a question we're going to pick up in the Synod and that's where we're going to need your help because we want to start where everybody else is, not 10 years ago. And the church has a habit of starting 10 years in the past and not necessarily where people are at right now. There's no other group who knows that better than you. So that we're going to need your help with that. Okay.
All right, going back
again to the question.
Technology, the best usages, please.
Okay, a few things. One would be some sort of resource where you can ask a priest questions or some sort of religious, because sometimes, although the UCAT is great, it doesn't seem as accessible. It might not seem as interpersonal, and people are sometimes like embarrassed to ask maybe their own parish priest, but someone that's like accessible where they can maybe email and ask these questions could be very helpful. Another thing is the youth Facebook pages are phenomenal. They share a lot of great pictures, quotes, links. Go find it on Facebook. It's, I think, Youth Ministry in Diocese of Bridgeport. It's great. You'll find a lot of the things that you're looking for. And then the last thing is Bishop. I know that Pope Francis, a lot of people really appreciate his little sound bites, and you have wonderful sound bites. And I think if you were to share some of those on Twitter, they'll get retweeted, they'll get favorited, and even if people aren't necessarily like really interested in all the things that the church are teaching, if they see this presence on Twitter and see their friends retweeting, they might be more inclined to get curious and to ask questions.
Absolutely. You know what I just discovered? By the way, I was in New Orleans 2 days ago. There is a new app. I forget what it's called. Ambassador, it's called. It was developed in the Midwest. And it allows a priest, or myself, a bishop, to record your homily. It downloads it to a blog or wherever else, your Facebook page, and it automatically emails it to anybody who's interested. So you can actually hear your homily wherever you are, or it could become like a file. And I'm intrigued with that, to be able to put stuff out there, because like with Twittering and stuff, it's just more things to do. But if we could leverage the stuff we already do, priests, pastors, myself, maybe a great way to do it. Please.
Just going off of that, I know a lot of us have attended Convivio and Fan the Fire. The talks are phenomenal, and I know that they put the Convivio talks available on the website. But even if they're available to be downloaded, those talks in the future, just because they're really engaging.
Yeah.
And people can like play them on their phones,
exactly.
Whether driving or like just hanging out. I think they could be very useful.
And may I just say one other thing too? Now we're veering off, so Monsignor, I'm sorry, but in the adult listening session, the first one, a gentleman stood up and said, "Bishop, I'm in the 12-step program." And he said, "And I feel comfortable giving testimony to my faith and the 12-step meetings. And I want ways to give testimony to my faith in other ways, including in church. But one of the most powerful ways, to your point about downloading, of getting young people involved is to have all of you, to the extent that you're comfortable, give testimony to your faith. You can reach some young people better than I can, because your faith is something they will connect with in a way different than mine. That's something else we have to talk about. Who's willing to be part of the project? Okay, back to Monsignor.
All right, technology, please.
I have a history in the public school system, and there's so many things that you're asking these children. In the public school system, all this stuff has been invented already. So all you need to do to cover a lot of your issues is piggyback onto what they're doing. These kids all know exactly how to do these things already. A couple of things that were brought up that I'm actually appalled at is some of the questions about, well, what about that website, or does this website exist? They do. I'm surprised you don't know about them. A couple of them that were brought up, they're out there. You look at all sorts of things. Why don't you know that those are out there? But check out what the public schools are doing, because they're cutting edge. That's where you need to be. If you emulate some of the stuff they're doing, you're on board already.
right, thank you. Section 1, please.
Well, I know with my confirmation class, we were able to use a smartboard in one of my classes to watch a couple of videos made by Father Marcello about about the vestments that the priests wear, and I know that helped me a lot to understand. And my religion class just got a smartboard, but I think that if we have more access to technology like that, I think it would make classes a lot more interactive and help kids concentrate better, since we're using technology that they can understand and actually know about.
Thank you. Section 2, please.
I feel like before coming here, I had no idea that the Diocese of Bridgeport utilized all of the social media assets that it does. And I feel like, especially at the youth masses, during homilies, priests should be talking about these things, because that's how you get the word out and that's how you spread it further. And especially like at the youth mass, when there's all of those young people who especially know how to utilize that social media, that's how you get the message out faster and more efficiently.
Thank you. Section 1, please.
So as a generation, we tend to look up to people, and we have celebrities that we look up to. And a lot of these celebrities on these social medias post things up, and we look at them. They go up on our news feed, and you just click on it, and you spend 2 minutes, you waste your time, and you're looking at this thing. And so we need better celebrities. And one of these incredible celebrities is Pope Francis, who's come up, and he uses this. I mean, maybe the other older popes did, but I'm figuring it out with Pope Francis. He has a Pope app, which is great. You see pictures of him all the time. He's on Facebook, and he posts random things, videos, or people repost them, and then you just see these great videos, and you're not wasting 2 minutes of your time. And so maybe that's how you use social media, is just posting a video that's actually meaningful and doesn't waste 2 minutes of my time. And then I'll post it, and somebody else posts it, and that's how it goes.
Thank you. Section 2, please.
I can't speak for all the youth groups and their online presence, but I know that the youth group at St. Joe's in Danbury, the youth minister there is very active on a lot of the social media stuff, especially Instagram. And I follow it because I'm a member of that youth group, but also because it's not just information about the youth group. Whenever the Pope tweets, that also goes there, and it's really nice to see like the youth group really regurgitating all the stuff that goes other places and making it all under one umbrella.
All right, thank you. Section 1, please.
Okay, sorry, I like to talk a lot. I have a lot of ideas, but one way I think that we could use technology is, I know I have a Facebook group with some of the girls in my youth group, and it's a prayer group, and we post things that we need prayers for. So maybe if we can do an anonymous prayer group thing where it's everyone, youth and priests, and like the bishop too, because it would just show that you have people behind you and people that actually do have your back. And then one way I think that we shouldn't use technology, because they're trying to do it in my church, is they're trying to like let you pay with credit cards for a church, or like make donations through credit cards. And I think that makes it more like a business rather than anything else. So I think that's the way that we shouldn't use technology.
Okay. Section 2, please.
Hi, I think technology creates access for people with disabilities or who is sick or bad at home. So technology helps you to be part of the church as well, to be able to feel welcoming and able to follow your faith even if you are not able to go to church. So you can follow the Mass being at home. You can follow the Pope homilies being at home. And I think make distance shorter, and I think help a lot of people to increase faith. So technology is always helpful for people who is with disabilities. Doesn't matter how old are you.
Thank you. We have a couple more minutes, and please, section number 1.
I was thinking maybe to make more pages like EWTN. They have a page where it's Catholic, and they post information. But the thing is that they don't make it seem interesting. They don't catch a person's eye. So what I really encourage is that they should make, if they make a website, that they should put something that gets the person's attention. Put probably a quote right in the page, or a picture that, obviously catches a person's eyes. But that they should make the website interesting, or
Thank you. Section 2.
I'd like to put in a shameless plug from myself.
talking about technology. I have a blog on the diocesan website, Father Colin McKenna, thanks to the bishop and the Fairfield County Catholic. So probably if you Googled Father Colin McKenna blog, you'd find it. But it's Fairfield County Catholic. If you Google that, you'll see we try to keep it fresh. So we have stories coming all the time. This will even be covered to some degree. We're really not, up to speed with like the best papers in the country in terms of our internet approach, but we're trying, okay? So keep looking at what we're doing online. The other thing is that I want to talk to you about technology, an old form of technology called the telephone. And you can still use it. I think some of you still have landlines in your house. I don't know, maybe not. But some of you were saying that you don't have enough access to confession. Well, here's a surprise to you. If you call a priest, you can ask for an appointment for confession, okay? And he'll be happy to meet with you at a time that's convenient for both of you. But if you don't want to be identified, if you want to go behind the screen, you could recruit your family to go with you at a given time on a given night, especially if you don't drive. So say, Mom, can you call the priest? We all should go to confession on Thursday night at 7 o'clock if Father will see us. And then he goes into the confessional and he doesn't know who is who, right? Finally, another old form of technology, the automobile. You here can be the leaders of your family to get everybody in the car to go to church on Sunday. Get everybody in the car and tell Dad or Mom to remember the envelope too, okay?
All right.
You're supposed to laugh at that.
Thank you. Section number 1, please.
I'm not sure how many of you youth here have been to a Steubenville conference. Just like from a show of hands, how many people have been to a Steubenville conference before?
Oh, a lot.
So a good amount. So Steubenville, the conference, they're a part with Life Team. They are I had a great experience at the conferences. They really lighten the fire of faith for the youth. They're very inviting. And I think as a diocese, the things that they do, we could also mimic. In the sense that technology-wise, they have the Steubenville app, which has all the announcements, all the talks, all the homilies, everything from all the different conferences. And as a diocese, I think mimicking them would be really good to attract more youth into different events of the diocese.
Thank you. Section number 2, please.
Back to electronics, I would suggest almost like a youth library online for talks or homilies, as we were saying. Personal experiences at my college, I lead a group, and I wanted to show them Father Robert Barron's talk on the 7 deadly sins. And it was really difficult for me to get a hold of it. It actually wasn't until the fraternas mailed me a DVD of it that I was able to show the students, and they loved it. And it was such an awesome opportunity for them to see what the Catholic faith is all about. But maybe if someone's not quite as ambitious to get a hold of that, then it's a lot harder to show everyone that video or any video like that. So maybe a library that would be free for the youth of the diocese to access.
Thank you. Thank you very much for great comments.
One last one. Just one quick comment about Twitter. I follow DOB Events, which is the Bridgeport Diocese thing, and I also follow Bridgeport Vocations. And this is just my personal opinion, I think Bridgeport Vocations is so much more relatable to the youth and at such a higher level on Twitter than DOB Events. I'm not trying to offend anyone who does that, but just the type of language, the way it's portrayed. Twitter's 140 characters, and you just gotta be quick in and out. But I don't know. So maybe having a youth liaison at the Catholic Center to just talk to every now and then about what goes on Twitter. And I think there's a lot of good models. Father Robert Barron kills it on Twitter. Bishop Burbridge is awesome. Cardinal Sean, Cardinal Dolan
Pope Francis, like we have models, and we're on Twitter and everything, but we have models where we could take Twitter to the next level. And these things get retweeted. Cardinal Sean, he's the Cardinal Archbishop of Boston. He gets retweeted at Catholic University like no other. Like he's all over the place just because his Twitter is at a level where the youth can connect and relate to. So I don't know. We have models.
Thank you. Great comments, Bishop.
Excellent. I just have one last question before we wrap up. Because the last question we had there was comments, and I think we've had plenty of comments. This is a come home to Jesus moment. Okay? And I want you to be brutally honest, as you always are. If I were to ask you, this is what we call spiritual barometer. I'm taking the temperature, spiritual temperature. All the things we talked about with technology. Wrap it all up in one thing. Phone, internet, Twitter, the whole thing. If I were to say to you that I want you to just set it aside from now till dinner, who could do that for me, for ministry, for the sake of the Lord? If I said to you, you had to do it for your faith, nice and high, from now till dinner. Okay, great. Most of you, great. Put your hands down. How about if I told you from now until next Saturday? Okay. Okay. Did you hear my question? My question is this. Put your hands down. My question is, I just want to get a sense of how much it is a part of our life, your life and my life, and how much it has taken over our life. There's a difference, isn't there? And it's important, and we have to use it. But that's something we're going to talk about in the Synod. Because Jesus said we are to be a slave to nothing except the will of God. So we're going to have to use it, and we're going to use it. And you've had some phenomenal ideas, but we just don't want it to use us. Right? So we'll talk about that. Monsignor, what do we have to do left?
Well, this is a very special moment, Bishop, because some of these participants applied to be general delegates to the Synod. And as of today, Bishop chose 33 of you to become official delegates to the 4th Diocesan Synod. You will receive a letter from the Bishop of Appointment later on, but today, the Youth Minister for the Diocese of Bridgeport, Julie Rogers, will read the names of those who had been chosen to be the delegates. Please.
Thank you, Monsignor. So as I call each delegate's name, I just ask you to stand up, and if you could come forward. I would like you to do that because all of you here as co-delegates, these are the people that are going to be representing you as youth in front of the adults at the session, okay? So if you have something that you really want to relay, these are the people who are representing you. So I'll name them now. Annalise Butler, St. Aloysius, New Canaan. And what we're going to do is we're going to get really excited and clap when we're all done, okay? When they're all up here, we'll clap at the end. Brendan Gray, St. Leo, Stamford. Hold your clap. Brenner Lecomte, St. John, Darien. Caitlin Wardlow, Our Lady of Grace, Stratford. Christina Bellachico, St. Leo, Stamford. Kira Mancuso, St. Cecilia, Stamford. Colin Lomnitzer, St. Catherine of Siena, Trumbull. Sorry, this last name is also hard. Damien Rydwesk, Holy Name of Jesus, Stamford. Daniel Guido, St. Lawrence, Shelton. Danielle Cotterbay, St. Jude, Monroe. Edwin Gonzalez, Our Lady of Guadalupe, Danbury. Emma Moody, St. Catherine of Siena, Trumbull. Eric Cruz, St. Peter's, Bridgeport. Giselle Garcia, St. Teresa, Trumbull. Grace Wagner, St. Aloysius, New Canaan. Hannah Chauvin. Jesus Gandara, St. Peter Danbury. Jillian Tiberio, St. Andrew, Bridgeport.
Thank you, Jesus.
Jonathan Roman, St. Mary's, Bridgeport. Kelly Finn, Basilica of St. John the Evangelist in Stamford. Kelsey Llewellyn, St. Anthony of Padua in Fairfields. Laura Green, St. Leo, Stamford. Lynette Hernandez, St. Mary's in Bridgeport. McKenna Mace, St. Catherine of Siena, Trumbull. Michael Falbo, St. Philip, Norwalk. Michael Leonard, St. Jude, Monroe. Peter Iofano, St. Mary, Bethel. Owen Ruggiero, St. Elizabeth Seton in Ridgefield. Ryan McMillan, St. Leo, Stamford. Sarah Tiani. Taylor Rose Morosky, St. Mary, Bethel. Tyler Lomnitzer, St. Catherine of Siena, Trumbull. Zachary Zukala, St. Joseph, Danbury. Okay, now we can get a nice clap, a round of applause for everybody. Bishop, I think that this would be a good moment if we got a picture with everyone to begin. So if we could have the delegates come in closer.
But before we do that, for all of you who are not official delegates to the Synod, I would like to invite you to become part of the delegates of the Congress of Youth that we're going to have that I spoke of before. I need every single one of you involved. They have double duty because they'll be going to both sessions. But if you're willing and able and want to be part of this process, and I hope you all are, I would like you to be associate delegates or the delegates to the Youth Congress. And do we have everybody's name?
At this point,
we do. Okay, so unless you tell me no, I am going to appoint every single one of you to that group. Okay? It's like the draft. Okay? So I thank you all as well for being part of that, and I thank the delegates because there's a lot of work to do, and I look forward to working with you to do it. So you want to take a photo? Yeah. Yes, then please arrange. Yes, fine. That's excellent. We do whatever Sister Flo says. Now. Anything else? Monsignor, do we have to do anything else?
No, just thank you all for coming, and thank Monsignor Stingiovanni for having us here. Thanks to all the volunteers who helped with microphones and setup. There are sound guy here. Everybody who was involved, thank you very much for coming. And Bishop.
And just before we go, to show you how very much alive you are in faith, when we gather with the adults, we have 90 to 92 interventions, different ideas. And today we had 187 from you. It's amazing. Okay, so before we go, we're going to pray. Okay? Yeah, you're young. Stand up. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Heavenly Father, we have spent this time together sharing our faith, sharing our ideas, asking for your Holy Spirit to guide us and bless us, to bless our church, to strengthen our faith, to make it more inviting, to help many more people to come to love the Lord Jesus. May your Holy Spirit come upon all of these young people who are here, who will serve the Synod in different ways, but working for the common goal to bring new life and rebirth to the Church. May your Holy Spirit bless them, guide them, and protect them all the days of their lives. For we ask this in the name of Jesus, who is the Lord and the Savior, now and forever. Amen. And may Almighty God bless you all, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Monsignor, thank you for your leadership. Thank everyone on the commission. Get home safe, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Maybe you have to